to Psych Out. I'm your host, Alexander Suma, and today I have the pleasure in inviting Dr. Aubrey Levins onto our show. Dr. Aubrey Levins is going to be discussing with us a little bit about her background and also her latest experiment that she has conducted. Now I'd like to welcome Dr. Aubrey Levins to the stage. Hi, welcome.
So great to meet you.
Happy to have you today. So, tell me a little bit about your life.
So I began medical school in South Africa at the University of Pretoria. And I was there on a scholarship from the South African Defense Force. And in 1968, a year before I finished my schooling to become a psychiatrist, I created a cure for homosexuality.
So how did you go about this proposal?
So I sat down and I began writing, and I felt so strongly about my cure. So I sent in a letter to a select committee to sit before them and propose my cure. And I never had the chance to actually sit down in front of them, but I was later hired by the South African Defense Force, who gave me the scholarship for my schooling to be a military psychiatrist. So I worked mainly with homosexuals and drug abusers on the military front.
Wow, okay. So what exactly is this cure?
So it's an aversion therapy, which I would take these homosexuals and I would sit them in a room and I'd dim the lights, make it a little romantic, and I would create an aversion to the same sex. So I would put a pornographic photo of the same sex in front of them, and when they became aroused, I would shock them with high voltages to create that aversion between the same sex and the arousal. And then I would put a pornographic photo of the opposite sex in front of them and not shock them, so they would only have the aversion to the same sex rather than the opposite sex to cure homosexuality.
Wow, okay. So I think it's time that the audience takes a look at this reenactment of the electroshock therapy.
Increase 10 volts. Increase 10 volts.
Take it easy, Doc. Man.
Increase 10 volts. Increase 10 volts.
So now that the audience has an idea of what the electroshock therapy was like for the participants, what happens if they're not cured by the electroshock therapy?
So if the electroshock therapy doesn't work, we send the participants to a farm right outside of Limpopo, where they're forced to do hard labor, they're deprived of food and sleep, and they have no communication with family or friends until they're peeled from their deviance of being homosexual. Similarly, like an onion, the outside layer is peeled, and then we send them back out into the population.
So I know that you continue your experiment with going to a reassignment surgery. Can you go into a little bit more detail of that?
Sure. So there were about 1,000 homosexuals in the military who were brought to the military against their will, and we kind of did them a favor and completed a surgery to reassign them, such as if we have a homosexual male, we would complete a surgery to reassign them into a female and then send them back out into the population so that they wouldn't be called back into the military again.
So I think that just like we do with the electroshock therapy, we take a chance for the audience to see what this reassignment surgery is like.
You ready? He has a normal heartbeat, says he.
Just gonna bring it up a little.
Goes. Alright. The operation was a success.
So this video was very interesting to watch, and I know that you got a lot of negative feedback about these reassignment surgeries. And I can see that you had this accusation that you violated human rights because you would just send these individuals out into the real world without giving them expensive hormones. And they had these new sexual identities. What are your thoughts on this?
I really don't agree with those accusations whatsoever. I feel that due to the zeitgeist of the time with discrimination against homosexuals, especially in the military in South Africa, that I was doing these individuals a great favor by reassigning them a new sexual identity to save them from being put back into the military. And no, I did not give them hormones. That was up to them. I completed the surgery and then would send them out, and with their new sexual identities, they would take care of their own hormones.
Wow, okay. So thank you for going into detail about that. But I just want to get on a little personal level real quick that we found out about. Can you just talk a little bit about your sex offender conviction?
I'm here to discuss my homosexual cures. I'm not here to discuss my personal life.
But wait, we're not done yet.
Nope,
We're not done.
thank you.
All right, audience, that's it for today. We want to just thank Dr. Aubrey Levins for coming on our show, and thanks for watching Psych.
What are your thoughts on Dr. Aubrey Levins?
I don't know. I've read that clinical studies prove that you can't counsel or medically treat this to change someone's orientation, identity. I think people should be allowed to be who they are. I don't particularly believe in electroconvulsive therapy for this purpose, or sex reassignment surgery unless the person really wants that and not because someone's trying to make them fit into society. We gotta sometimes think outside the box and let people be different. That's what makes us special, and that's what makes us interesting and makes the world go round.
What are your thoughts on Dr. Aubrey Levins?
As a law enforcement professional, I don't think this doctor has a right to take away any civil liberties of the people and disregard their orientation in life. This doctor is making his own decisions about what people should be and shouldn't be, and I don't think he has the right to do that and should be charged accordingly.
What are your thoughts on Dr. Aubrey Levins?
As a gay man myself, I feel it's really sad that anyone ever feels like they have the right to make another individual feel bad or that something's wrong with them based on who they love, something that can't be fixed and doesn't need to, frankly. The idea that a surgery or any sort of intervention to fix someone's sexual orientation or who they love is just misguided, and I feel bad that anyone had to go through that, and so thankful that I live in a time where I don't have to experience that myself.
What are your thoughts on Dr. Aubrey Levins?
You know, this guy seems really homophobic, and after his recent sex convictions that I've heard in the news, I think he needs a lobotomy and some shock therapy, okay?
So wow, that video was interesting, Dr. Levins. So I know that you were, yep, that's what you did. You did that real well. Good job, Alex. Good. Dr. Aubrey Levins will be discussing with us a little bit about her background and also her latest experiment that she has been conducted. That did not make sense. Done. So now that the audience has an idea of what your electroshock therapy is about and they got to see the video, please tell me more in detail of what happens if they're not cured by the electroshock therapy.
So if our shock therapy doesn't work, we send our participants to a farm right outside of Limpopo where they have to...
You want to look at it? Yeah. 3, 2, 1.
3, 2, 1. Go.
Wow, that video was interesting. So I know Dr. Aubrey, Dr. Levins, not Aubrey, shit.
Alright, got a regular heartbeat.